It should be evident by now that one of the reasons the smug liberal elites lost the 2016 presidential election is because they have opted to play toxic, divisive identity politics. And whilst some seem to be at least marginally aware of this, there is a chorus of those on the left that think the correct strategy is to double down and continue to label anyone that doesn't agree with them as some type of bigot. Case in point, Anna Marie Cox, senior political correspondent for MTV News. I know, that should ring some alarm bells straight off the bat. And columnist for the New York Times Magazine. This segment was taken from Bill Maher's post-election show, and it's almost as if she's reading from a script.
So here's a way of thinking about the Trump victory. It's sort of, I think, a victory for third parties in America. He really should have been a third-party candidate, an oddball billionaire who doesn't really have the ideology of either party. We've been wanting a third party forever. This is actually how a third party gets elected, using one of the parties as a host. Right? But not really being one of them. And this, to look on the bright side, this is an opportunity because he doesn't really have an ideology that's beholden to either party. He can kind of do anything.
Except I would say he's a product of the Republican Party. I think the Republican Party created him.
He wasn't even a Republican.
But I agree, but they created the groundwork with their talk of voter ID and voter fraud and conspiracy theories and Fox News.
So point one, lay the blame at the feet of the Republican Party and Fox News. That way, you don't have to acknowledge the role of regressives in the rise in popularity of Donald Trump.
But the thing is, he does have an ideology. He's not a conservative. He's what they call it. He has sort of he believes in using government to make big decisions. It's sort of socialisty. He's also kind of like he's very pro-America. He's very pro-America, so he's kind of nationalisty. So he's kind of a nationalist socialist.
But you guys.
2. Compare Donald Trump to Hitler, because of course you do, and do it in a smug, condescending tone.
So he's kind of a nationalist socialist.
But you guys.
Now say what you like about Bill Maher, I don't agree with much of his politics, but at least he's willing to criticise his own side. And then check out how the regressive Cox reacts.
But also the Democratic Party, back me up on this, guys, sort of lost the white working man. That's what they used to have. And they made the white working man feel like your problems aren't real because you're mansplaining. And, you know, check your privilege. But you know what? If your life sucks, your problems are real. Right. And you know what should I do? Cut my dick off and check my privilege?
Right.
Now, do you really think that's like liberals' fault? You know, there's that saying like to
oh, I do.
A white person, equality feels like oppression.
You know,
so point 3, pretend that your authoritarian commitment to equality of outcome is equivalent to actual equality, and all those that oppose it are bigots.
I mean, if there's a silver lining this for me personally, it's the 2 issues I have been on the case of liberals for, and they've been booing me about this for years, and maybe they'll listen. One is political correctness. I think I did a show about that for 9 years. You're outrageous with your political correct bullshit, and it does drive people away. And 2, Islam. You know, Islam. They don't, Democrats, there's a terrorist attack, and Democrats' reaction is, don't be mean to Muslims, instead of how can we solve the problem of shit blowing up in America. Yeah. And, you know, that's not a good way to get...
The problem with American politics, let's get this straight, the problem with American politics is we don't cater enough to white men.
No, I didn't say that.
No, you did. Actually, you literally did. You literally did, actually.
No.
And 4, make everything the fault of white men, and do it in a hysterical, high-pitched, angry, feminazi tone. Because that's sure to win over the electorate, just like it did for Hillary.
You're right, I think. Like, you're 100% right about that, but do you want to be right or do you want to fucking win?
You know what? No.
Democrats,
it's not just...
You have to stop ignoring these people and understand
Democrats
you have to speak
have become, to a lot of Americans, a boutique party of fake outrage and social engineering, and they're not entirely wrong about that.
That's right, Bill. They're not entirely wrong. In fact, they're entirely right on that point. But unfortunately, it hasn't sunk in for former Clinton campaign communications director Jess McIntosh, appearing on MSNBC on Monday.
And my understanding from my conversations with the Clinton folks, right, is that there's a certain demographic. Everyone sort of comes up with their demographic path to victory. And in some ways, the demographic bet was there's going to be some demographics on which she underperforms that will be made up for ones in which she overperforms. And one of those was women, particularly Republican women, white women. We should be clear, women of color overwhelmingly voted for her and have overwhelmingly voted for every Democratic presidential candidate. But she, among white women, didn't do any different than essentially Obama in 2012, a point better.
Yeah.
How do you make sense of that?
Internalized misogyny is a real thing, and this is a thing that we have to be talking about as we go through and see.
What does that mean, though?
My guess is, look, the president said it the best during this whole campaign. We, as a society, react poorly to women seeking positions of power. We are uncomfortable by it, and then we seek to justify that uncomfortable feeling because it can't possibly be because we don't want to see a woman in that position of power. We need to, as we go through these numbers, as we figure out exactly what happened with turnout, it seems to be white college-educated women. My guess is that breaks down married, unmarried. My guess is it breaks down older, younger. But we have work to do talking to those women about what happened this year and why we would vote against our self-interest.
So there you have it. Women that didn't vote for Hillary have internalized misogyny. They've been conned by the patriarchy into voting against their own best interest. Because you see, women don't have any agency of their own, at least the ones that didn't vote for the right candidate. After all, there couldn't possibly be any other reason you wouldn't have voted for Hillary. I mean, it's not like she has a track record of lies, incompetence, and corruption. You know, everything that's wrong with establishment politics. But I take encouragement from this. I hope that the mainstream media continues to push forward these types of idiots and their ridiculous narratives, because that will help ensure the Democratic Party will continue to lose.
Actually, you literally did. You literally did. Actually.
You literally did.